Assistance League of Houston is an all-volunteer nonprofit organization committed to serving children and adults in need. The Houston chapter was formed in 1966 by Mary Bayer and 28 of her friends, who were interested in serving the children of the Houston community. Since then, this all-volunteer chapter has lovingly given over 24,000 hours of service towards funding 5 philanthropic programs for the economically disadvantaged. Celebrating this momentous occasion, we asked a few of our past presidents to reflect on the building, giving and supporting our Houston community.
I think what these ladies did gathered women and local women, and she had people like my sponsor was Patricia Taylor, and we all went to various meetings while they were talking about it.
I was invited to join. I was not a charter member, but I was in the first group that went sustaining, so I was early on with the Assistance League, and I loved the service that they were doing to the community and giving back, and the working with children and young adults. That really appealed to me.
In these meetings, we established the fact we were going to start a group to later be chartered by the National Assistance League.
Like we had been given so much, we thought it was good to give back and to, to do what we could to help the young children and young adults.
The Junior League here, they had the Junior Forum, and this was the third one that was coming to Houston with the idea of supporting various operations. We were first at the hospital, but we were docents there, and we would take newspapers to people's rooms and maybe read to them, get their mail, any supplies they needed. Take on projects like the zoo, and we developed a lot at the zoo.
I remember taking those animals to my children's school, and they had the privilege of seeing their mother draped in a boa constrictor in front of their class, It was fun. But I did that. That was probably my favorite project. We took the llama, and I can remember my dear friend Pat Stone and I were doing it, and we had a little alligator too, and he used to travel with us in a burlap sack. And Pat was driving down the 610 loop, looked down at her feet, and there he was, out of his sack. And she was in the front seat driving, 1 foot up on the stack. And she knew where the closest gas station was because she lived close by. So she drove with 1 foot on the accelerator or brake, 1 up on the dashboard, and pulled into that gas station, jumped out and said, "There's an alligator in my car." Of course, the police were there, and got a picture in the newspaper. That was kind of a big incident.
Well, okay, I joined in 1980. My 2 sisters had already joined like 2 years before. And I was jealous because back then we did the zoo project. They were zoo docents. And they go to the zoo, get the animals, and take them to the elementary schools. And my sisters had such fun taking the snakes and doing all this stuff. And then when I joined, they didn't have the zoo docent program anymore. And it might be because of my sisters, I'm not sure.
While establishing community goals, it was important to provide various forms of assistance, including but not limited to clothing, shoes, financial assistance, primarily to children in need in schools and hospitals in the greater Houston area.
We started Operation School Bill, a wonderful service to children. Now they're all wearing uniforms, which is excellent because it levels the playing field.
We've actually been doing this program, Operation School Bell, which is our signature program. We've been doing it for about 45 years. We did a couple of hundred the first couple of years, and then it got bigger and bigger. We're in a new building now, so we're hoping that it's just going to continue to grow.
The reason that we do this, it's so much fun to go and actually distribute the clothes and see those kids. They get a hold of the bag and they're not going to let go of it. They're so proud of what they've just received and excited. And there's no feeling like that when you see the result of what we're doing here.
I feel like I'm doing something for the community, especially helping little children who don't have all that we have.
I can remember going to the schools and meeting with the principal and being told how much it was appreciated and what it meant to those children and to the staff in the schools too. They got great pleasure in seeing these little ones who could hold their head up going to school in a brand new outfit, head to toe.
The Operation School Bell program promotes self-esteem and self-confidence in children, resulting in a more successful education experience. For many children, these are the first new school clothes they have ever worn.
Very proud of Operation School Bell because I've always been involved in education, and I think that's a wonderful thing for children to be able to go to school and be proud of what they're wearing and, you know, that they fit in with the others. I think that's a wonderful thing that the Assistance League does.
In the summer of 1967, Yvonne Streit, unable to find a school or facility capable of teaching their severely handicapped daughter. So with the help of the Assistance League of Houston, together they started Briar School in Houston.
Children with learning disabilities, and it started out, Yvonne Streit started this because of her daughter, Vicki, had been a very healthy baby, but she developed mumps and encephalitis, and she became autistic. And so Yvonne and her husband took this child all over the country to find someone who could help her, and everyone told them, you have to institutionalize her.
I was involved with Briarwood, a school, and at school for learning disadvantaged children. I was very involved in it because a friend of mine, dear friend, was the administrator, and a neighbor started, Yvonne Streit started this school. And so I set people out there to volunteer. And at first was in Phillips Presbyterian Church on San Felipe. It was very difficult to have women go in there, and the first time they would say, I don't think I can handle this, I can't do it. And so I'd encourage them to go back 2 or 3 times, and then they loved it.
We were helped the teachers, we did different things, office work and that sort of thing. And then the school grew, and every year we'd say, well, what grade are we going to go to this year? And she'd say, well, let's see, Miss Vicki will be, you know, whatever her child was, we advanced to that. And then they ended up building a big school, and those children who had grown up through the school were out of school and they needed a place. So that's when they built Brookwood.
With the development of philanthropic programs, the Assistance League's funds were raised and spent locally to meet the growing needs of our community.
Back then in the 70s, there were really no opportunities for charity work. And so my girlfriend said, Sandy McNaughton, who is also a past president of Assistance League, said, Lane, let's go do this. And I said, okay, great. So I got involved in the 70s, made lots of great friends, and then worked myself up the ladder with a lot of mentors along the way. Back then, we had a downtown Houston office building that had 3 levels and with escalators. And it was black tie, and we had Don Strange Catering from San Antonio. He came in and did food stations, and back then that was kind of avant-garde. You know, no one was doing that kind of thing. But we had wonderful sponsors from, you know, every year. And like I said, we would have 700 or 800 people. It was just phenomenal. And we were making tons of money. My problem the year that I did it, there was a big problem with the oil business. And my theme was a wildcatter. So we went ahead and did it, and it was very successful. Everything was done on a grand scale because the building was so huge and so tall. So everything that we did had to be big. And this wonderful man, Jim Bass, built a 32-foot spindle top structure that we put on the first floor in the building. It was just great. The year before, when Katie and Jeannie did it, they had a girl on a red velvet swing. I mean, back then we were into big stuff and showy. It was fun. I think we were on such a momentum back then that everything just went through. I remember my husband at the time, though, wanted to retire from his job that year, and I said, no way. And I said, this is big time stuff. I cannot deal with running an organization and you retiring, so just forget it. So when I turned the gavel over in May of the following year, I came home and I said, I'm done. He said, okay, can I retire now? And he did.
From the beginning, Assistance League created and developed another key service, the bargain box. Offering good quality, gently used clothing, for all ages. Household items, jewelry, and other accessories at affordable prices.
Well, we set up I helped set up the very first bargain box, which grew into this wonderful thrift shop that we have now. But it was a small house on Westheimer, little tiny bungalow. And we had clothes and household accessories and things that people donated. And then we grew to a place, it was on Mount Vernon, and it was an old house. And so we had much more space. And we started getting clothing donated to us from, some of the finer stores that had merchandise that didn't sell, and so they gave it to us and for us to sell. Next thing I know, here we are in this wonderful thrift shop.
Today, the bargain box has turned into the thrift shop, with proceeds providing the major source of funding for the organization's community service programs.
And so I just remember growing up and our mother going and mainly working at the bargain box. It's now called the thrift shop, but we all still remember it as the bargain box. Every Saturday she would go, and she said a good member was somebody who would go work there, take something with them like clothes or household items to donate, and then they'd come home after buying something from the thrift shop. So I just, always when I got old enough to be a member, that's what I wanted to do.
Annual projects include providing school clothing to 4,000 disadvantaged elementary students, and a total of $101,000 in scholarships to about 60 students are awarded.
The scholarship program, when you see the kids come in that we help to receive their scholarships, and you see that if it weren't for people like the Assistance League helping them, they would not have an education. And the other thing, of course, is Operation School Bell. What it does for those young children to have a brand new uniform and a hygiene kit, and it's just their ownership of it. It's very special.
The Assistance League of Houston Celebrates Texas Art is a juried art show. Featuring works from emerging Texas artists, artists showcase their works from more than 800 submissions received. Out of those, only 64 pieces of art are chosen to exhibit. Winners, first, second and third are chosen at the end of the show.
I am a past president of the Assistance League, but I have the honor of chairing the 50th anniversary. Can you believe that the Assistance League has been giving back to the community for 50 years? So, can I get a round of applause? Yeah.
We had a wonderful gallery here at the Dubos, and a lot of those artists came. One that Kermit Oliver, I just loved his things, and I remember, and we had one there being displayed. They were very good to us, the galleries, and a lot of the art dealers, and they were just so generous helping us along and promoting art as well.
I don't know, the first judged and juried show that I was in charge of, that was outstanding. When we started out, it was just with using the galleries in Houston. And then we went to judged and juried, and that's what we do now, is it's for individual Texas artists. And that's exciting.
I was always impressed with how generous people were to us. All of our members had a great rapport with the Dubose gallery there, the artists that he had. Okay. And it was a learning experience for us as well.
Things were very settled by the time I got in. We knew where we were going. The Assistance League knew where it was going and where it needed to put its efforts and its money. And the big thing I remember was the gala. We had a gala every year, which was the culmination of the art program. It was usually at the end of the juried art show. And I can remember the figures coming in after it. And we had topped, I forget what number, with advertisements and made a lot of money by reaching out to the community. And the community gave back in a big way.
Such was the case at the annual Mary Jo Peckham Award Luncheon. More than 24 previous luncheon chairs celebrated their past and present achievements. Acknowledging another impressive force, Mary Jo Peckham
probably would just say, I can't believe you girls are doing this, that the league would do this in my honor. She would be very embarrassed. She was a very low-profile person. She really did not want that recognition. My mother, Mary Jo Peckham, she was one of the ladies that founded it in 1966 as a guild, and then it became the Assistance League, and 2 years later in 1968. So when I joined, I started doing the project. Mainly, you had to work at the thrift shop, which was fine, which was fun, because I was used to that. Mama used to take us there a lot. And we had we had an art gala, the art show gala. And one year my husband and I went, and we went every year. We always went with Mom, and we bought our Labrador there, Winchester, at the auction. So that was very special. So I just kind of worked my way up, and my mom was president, and I was looking it up. She was president in 1980. And I was proud that in 1988 I became president. So it was very special to have, before she died, that she got to see me be president of the league.
The true honorees were Peckham's children, Layla Gilbert, Ann Berry, Liz Jameson, and Walt Peckham, who have kept the philanthropic spirit of their mother alive. Jo Peckham deserved to have a park named after her. Mary Jo Peckham's eponymous, Katie Green Space, and if you knew Mary Jo Peckham herself, she was a kid at heart. Assistance League charitable programs rely on hands-on involvement by our volunteers and spring from their generous hearts and minds. Each innovative program is designed to meet specific needs of individual communities and have helped make a better world possible.